Hey gang, Tony Fontana here. Just wanted to touch base, try to follow up with a conversation that we were having yesterday with regard to these steps to your success. That there is no rocket to the top, there's no elevator or express elevator to the top, that you have to go through each of these steps to get there. And the first step was self-image. And yesterday we talked a little bit about the fact that you need a better self-image. You need a stronger self-image, one that's a little bit more positive about who you are. Today what I'm going to cover is the causes of a poor self-image. And maybe you can identify some of these things within yourself. You might be able to see a few things. Hey Lionel, how are you, buddy? What's going on, my man? Great post today, by the way. You're on top of your game there. I love it. So we basically there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. And I take notes, I always do these things. Hi Lisa, how are you, doll? What's going on? What causes a poor self-image? Well, the first and foremost is we live in a negative society, don't we? I mean, just turn on the news. Oh my God, the crazy, crazy stuff. Lionel, you're aware of this more than any of us. I mean, you see it every day. There's so much negativity out there. I mean, what does the weatherman say? There's a 20% chance of rain, and it's partly cloudy. Why not? There's an 80% chance it's going to be sunny out. So it goes toward the negative. Hey Jerry, how are you? Unfortunately, as individuals, because we're surrounded by negativity, we tend to be more negative. It's just the way it is. But you can fight that. That negativity translates into negativity within yourself. I mean, how many people, walk into a house and the place is a mess, and you'll hear them say, or you might say it, I could never get this cleaned up. I'll never get this done. Well, that's projecting into your mind. If you're trying out for a team, I'll never succeed at that. The negativity abounds. I mean, you go to work and you got a pile of stuff on all your inboxes. The first thing you're going to think is, I'll never get through the day. I'm going to have to work overtime. Hey, Robert, what's going on, brother? There's a lot that goes on in the course of our day. And again, just turn the TV on. Negative, negative, negative. Headlines, negative, negative, negative. It's disgusting. Hey, John, how are you? Welcome to the broadcast. I appreciate you joining me today. So that's the biggest issue. I mean, when I was a kid, really not even a kid, up until adult, until my mom passed away, my mom would always say, if I was, there and I was leaving in Brooklyn to come back to Long Island, she would say, be careful, don't get into an accident. She did that since I was like 2. She always went toward the negative, like what could happen, the negativity. I know she was protecting me, but you know what? I always drove the car like, I hope I don't get into an accident, because my mom said, don't get into an accident. The mind tends to give you what you picture, and that's not a good picture to have. You're going to get in the car, you better hope and pray and know that you're going to get where you got to go. Hey Tommy, how are you, buddy? What's going on? George, welcome to the call. Appreciate it. So that's number one. Number two, your ability, your appearance, and your intelligence is ridiculed by parents, people in authority, friends, or family. We all have how we look. How we look is how we look. And when someone ridicules that, especially when you're younger, it tends to stay with you. I remember when I was being confirmed, had this beautiful outfit on, a suit, and I think it was a red, confirmation gown or whatever. And my uncle was going to take a picture of me in this full thing. And I had a giant smile on my face. And you know what he said? He said, don't smile. Your smile doesn't look very good. I'd rather you didn't smile. So I went, I basically didn't smile. He took the shot. That picture, years later, as an adult, I found it and it went right in the garbage because I thought, wow, I mean, I was just a kid, I guess 5th grade. And he was telling me I didn't look good. My smile wasn't good. That carried with me for many, 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 many years to the point that it became an issue. It no longer is because, frankly, I grew up. But just seeing that photo reminded me of what he said. And if you're around your kids, if you're around other people, man, don't ridicule their appearance or their intelligence. Just don't do it. Look for the good in them. Hey Tommy, again, how you doing, buddy? Number 3, there's a tendency to confuse failure in a project with total failure in life. I mean, let's be real. You have a project, you fail at that, your mind is going to go, I could never do this. This was horrible. I'm useless. I'm a waste. And we equate our failure in one lousy thing to our entire life. Now multiply that by the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times that it happens, then again, you're going to end up with a poor self-image. I think by the time you're 18, we've all heard 100,000 no's in our life. All these no's, going into our brain. Not a good way to grow up, but that's just the way it was. It's not the way I am, and I hope it's not the way you are with your kids. So, hey Kim, how are you? Good to see you. Number 4, This is an interesting one. An untrained memory. Well, untrained memory is one that needs to be trained, right? It's the definition, untrained memory. We believe we can't remember things or people. And we tend to belittle ourselves because we can't. Oh, I'm getting a little older. Sometimes I forget stuff. Who cares? I take notes. I got notes and sticky pads everywhere. Look, I've walked into a room and forgot why I walked into the room. You know, it's worse when you walk into a bathroom and you forgot why you walked in, but that's another story. So anyway, I mean, bottom line is you can train your brain to have a better memory. There's a book called The Memory Book. You should look it up. It's a great book, little book. I'll look it up on Amazon. Hey Irene, how are you? Good to see you. How's it going today? It was your birthday yesterday, I think, right? Happy birthday again. Number 5. Unrealistic and unfair comparisons of experiences. We compare ourselves to other people. We always compare ourselves to other people. When we hear about someone else's success, we'll often say, well, they could do it because they're lucky, they had a better family, they have money in the bank, they are better than we are. Well, that's just not true. I mean, you know it's not true. Come on. You know, think about it. There's 1.2 billion people in the world that do something I can't do, and that's speak Chinese. Well, I can't speak Chinese. Can you? I mean, some of you can, I guess. I don't know. But I can't. Well, 1.2 billion people aren't better than me because they speak Chinese. Maybe they can't speak English. And guess what? I can hopefully speak English. I don't know. I'm not that good at that either, but who knows? So bottom line is, you have abilities that other people don't have. I mean, you can sit with a doctor, and that doctor can preach about whatever he's preaching about, talk about whatever he's talking about, and it can go on and on and on, and using verbiage that you don't understand and concepts that you can't comprehend because he's a doctor. And then you'll say to yourself, well, he's a genius because he's a doctor. Well, guess what? That doctor in your job, if you're an accountant, can't do your job. If you're a bookkeeper, maybe he can't do bookkeeping. Most doctors can't. Maybe you're a real estate investor or a realtor. Well, he can't sell houses very well. You know, your job is your job. Your career is your career. Your skill set is your skill set. You have what you have. Use your gifts. He has his gifts. You're not worse or better than him, but you certainly shouldn't think that you're worse than him or her, right? Because you're a human being. You're a human being in this world. That's what you are. Okay. Hey, Don, how are you, buddy? You're unique. I mean, you need to know that. You're unique. Number 6, compare your worst features to someone else's best. Well, this is something that a lot of people do, and this comes from childhood a lot of times. You know, your mom might have inadvertently said, giving attention to a really good-looking kid, and you're not getting that attention. And you might be thinking, well, that good look is better, and that's more important than how I look. And you start to belittle yourself just a little bit. Hey, Evangelist Jerry, how are you? So that's kind of like what happens when you compare your worst features to someone else's best features. Let's look at Phyllis Diller. Some of you might not remember Phyllis Diller. I remember Phyllis Diller. She was a comedian. Not the best looking lady in the planet, and she knew it when she was growing up. She was ridiculed and she was put down, that she really wasn't very attractive. But funny, this woman would make you laugh. And I mean, I think she was making people laugh until the day she died. She's an amazing comedian. I think she was probably in the good $1, $2, $3 million a year bracket through the 60s and 70s. She's an amazing lady. She didn't let her looks be any distraction against her ability, which was her comedic talent, her comedic timing. She was amazing at that, so she used that. Hi, Anthony. How are you, buddy? Number 7, the last one, is people set standards of perfection that they just can't reach. You know, I mean, we all have our goals and we all have this lofty ambition, but if you try to put a standard on yourself that's just not realistic, it's just not something that you can, like, I can't run a 4-minute mile. I mean, I just can't do it. I'm not going to consider myself a bloody failure if I don't run a 4-minute mile. I just can't do it. I mean, today we walked 3-point-some-odd miles, and we did it in about 40 minutes, and I was proud of myself. I was proud of MJ, and we really pushed ourselves to do that. Hey, Patty, how are you? So we pushed very hard to get there. But I certainly wouldn't compare myself to someone else that could walk that walk in 30 minutes. I mean, because they have a different physicality than me. So I was proud of myself, and I looked up on that. I looked at her, I thought, we did this. Let's do it every single day. Hey, Robert, how are you, buddy? Good to see you, my man. If anybody wants some good jewelry, Robert Senecola on this post, click and like his pages. He's got some amazing stuff. He's been a jeweler longer than I know him, and I know him since 1987, so that's a long time. Great guy, tremendous people. Robin Barber Senecola, tremendous people. So there's no middle ground with people. When they fail at something, it's all over. They're either the best or they're the worst. There's no gray area. Well, that's just plain stupid. I mean, come on, let's be real. There is a middle ground. There's always a middle ground. I've watched Olympians win. I've watched Olympians lose. I've seen football games where a guy that wasn't supposed to do anything special ran 100 yards to the end zone. It was during a Super Bowl game a couple of years ago. Someone that no one thought could do it, and he did it. So don't limit yourself. Don't try to be the best. And if you can't be the best, you're the worst. I want you to do this for me. I want you to start appreciating who you are. Now, tomorrow, we're going to talk about the manifestations of a poor self-image, something that you can look at, something that you can look to see within yourself where maybe you have some falling off in this area. Because this is going to be critical. Without this one area, self-image, you're not going to get to the next step, which we're going to cover in a couple of videos out. The fourth and final one for the self-image piece will give you a whole bunch of ideas on how you can improve your self-image. And on that one, it might be a little bit longer than this one, and you're going to absolutely want to take notes on that one. So if you're watching this as a replay, please indicate that down the road. If you have anything on here that you think might be something someone else needs to see, I would love it if you shared it. I appreciate that. And if there's anything that you want to comment on, please feel free to comment on this thing. So I'm going to end it with this. We love you guys. We know you're the best. You're unique. You should know that too. God bless. Have a great night.